love that sound, don't you, Bill?
Oh, yeah.
Democrats still searching for a direction and a path to victory in the midterm elections, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer claims he has found it. Politico reporting, quote, the New York Democrat called North Carolina, Maine, Ohio, and Alaska the 4 states we have to pick up to win back the Senate. 2 other offensive targets include Iowa and Texas, but they did not make Schumer's core list. But they're very possible pickups, he said. We'll see about that. Karl Rove will tell us more. He's former White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Fox News contributor. Welcome here. What do you have to tell us about Schumer's ploy here?
Well, he's got to say that they've got a shot because he's the Senate Democratic leader. But think about this. Alaska, Dan Sullivan won an election last time around by 13 points at the same time that Donald Trump was winning Alaska by 11. He ran ahead of the president. Maine, Susan Collins won it last time around by 9 points, while Donald Trump is losing the state by 9 points. That says she's pretty strong as an acre of garlic. North Carolina, the last midterm election, at the time that people voted, the Democrats had a registration advantage of 276,000 more Democrats than Republicans. As of this month, there are now 5,000 more Republicans in North Carolina than Democrats. The first time in the history of the state in which there have been more registered Republicans than Democrats. And finally, Ohio, Donald Trump won the state by 11 points. The Republican senator, John Husted, was lieutenant governor, and the ticket of Mike DeWine and John Husted in the last midterm election won by 25 points. So, Chuck is always an optimistic guy, but he's got a big uphill hill to climb here.
Okay, if that's the case on the Senate, pop quiz on the House, right? History goes against the party in power. As of today,
Right.
How would you see it go? And we're still trying to figure out redistricting and how we're going to draw these lines.
Well, I put it in my column of predictions last week in the Wall Street Journal. I think the House goes Democrat. You're right. In the modern era, go back to the end of World War II, there have only been 2 midterm elections in which the president's party gained seats. 1998, the Republicans had overplayed their hand on impeachment of Bill Clinton. His approval rating was in the 60s, and the Democrats picked up seats in the House. In 2002, George Bush's approval rating, George W. Bush, was at 60-some-odd%, and the Republicans picked up seats in the House and Senate. I happened to be in the White House then, knew a little bit about what was going on, and let me tell you, even with a 60% approval rating, it was really tough. So with a narrow margin, you'd have to bet on the Democrats taking the House.
We're going to have 10 months to talk about that. We got this,
Karl,
too.
wait, I have trivia for Karl.
Oh, nice.
When FDR gained seats, it was 1934. What happened? What was different in 1933 that helped him win in 1934?
Well, lots of things, like a really bad economy and the belief that he was the guy who could save America's economy.
Yes, but I have one more for you. In
All
1933, he started the Saturday radio address.
There we go.
And it was the first time. Anyway, a little trivia for you. I know that you would love to put that in your bag of tricks. David Plouffe is a Democrat. You know him well. He was with Obama. He was with even Kamala Harris for 107 days. He's got a big piece in the New York Times. He wants Democrats to win, but he says they will lose in 2028 unless they change course now, saying to win races in politically unforgiving, even hostile territory will require the party to overhaul its broken brand and stale agenda by elevating new faces and new leaders who promise to chart a course enough voters believe in. I'm sure you've read the piece. Was there anything in there that you thought was super smart?
Yeah, lots of things. First of all, he's a very smart guy, and the Democrats would be smart to listen to him. What I got out of it were 2 things. One is the tone of don't go hard left. I mean, the kinds of things that he was talking about are things that traditional Democrats would talk about. And second of all, he had some...
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.